Ooh, oh, don't let me start singing, Ryan. I was giving
Not again. Not again.
And this time I was going to have you finish the lyrics for me. Knock, knock, knocking. You know that song. How about knock, knock, knocking on Gino Ariema's door? How about that? I'm sure a lot of players do that when they're in need of some coaching skills, because I tell you, I don't know if it's anybody better in the business.
Yeah, and well, Dorka Juhasz, the player we're going to talk about today, she did that during the season last year.
Is she knocking on Gino's door?
It certainly helped her out a lot last season.
All right. Hey, I'll tell you, let's go ahead and get right down on into it, and then we'll get into the comments from the UConn Huskies. Welcome Ines Betancourt. Again, if I'm saying that name wrong, I apologize. We'll have to get used to watching these broadcasts more of these Huskies games so we can get used to all these new names, Ryan. And I tell you what, Ryan, you were impressed. They really came through again. So we want to shout out to everyone. We still have new subs coming through. Again, we just want to thank everybody. I know that you were impressed, and I know that you wanted to share your thanks to everyone who came through on that last episode.
Yeah, I know we were all excited for that news, and I know all the Husky fans were as well. So yeah, appreciate everybody that clicked on that video and checked it out. And got one more player left to get through today, and we're finally done this series of the players and the coaches. We went over the whole entire roster now, so we're ready to go for the regular season.
Just a quick comment. I know we have Dalton in the house, so if you start to laugh for no reason, that's probably why. Just to warn
that's
everybody
probably
now.
why. Yeah.
Shout out to Dalton Stewart. All right, here we go. So, Dorka Juhasz. Ryan, if you ask me, I'll let you break this player down and tell me what you think about her. I'm high on Dorka. You know that ever since she transferred to UConn. I'll let you go first. Long story short, though, over here on this side of town, man, look, from Maryland all the way to Stores, I truly think that people will. Now, I will even go back as far as her high school career. I think this is the season that Dorka Juhasz, her best season, 2022 to 23. I think this season will be her best year in her basketball career.
Yeah, and I would agree with that as well. I don't think that's really a drastic remark to make or a drastic take to have. And we've talked about her a lot during the off season about her breaking out this season for her senior year. She spent all of last season with UConn, fresh out of the transfer portal from Ohio State. And like I said, when she came into the season with UConn to start out, she kind of started out a little slow, just trying to get used to the system and all the plays, I guess, and try to just bond with her teammates out on the court. So it took a little bit of time for the chemistry to kind of click and everything to kind of click in with her. But once she went to Gino's office and knocked on his door and asked for advice and asked for advice, it really did help her out a lot. She found her shot. She was starting to fit in well with the system, and she had one of the better seasons out of all the players, in my opinion, for UConn last year. But like you just said, I think she can have an even better season this year and even more of an impact than what she did last season, along with Aaliyah Edwards. Of course, Olivia Nelson-Ododa went to the WNBA draft and got drafted last season or during the off season. So they won't have her, but Dorka and Aaliyah Edwards, I think, are going to have tremendous seasons down on the post and inside the block for UConn. And what I love about Dorka, and I've said it a lot of times, I love players that can step out of their comfort zone and take shots behind the arc and mid-range game. And Dorka is just one of those players who she can make layups. She can make those tough shots under the basket. She can make the mid-range shot. And what I love most about her, she can step outside the arc and take 3-point shots and pretty much make them on a consistent basis when she's left open. And she's an incredible rebounder as well, and a pretty good defensive player. So there's really not many things to critique about Dorka Juhasz. So I'm really excited to watch her again this season for UConn. I think she's going to have another tremendous year.
I want you to think about this when I tell you. Think about Paige Beckers when I tell you this. And for any big name athlete out there. Again, we're not saying it's great to get injured. We never want to see that, of course. But think about what I'm telling you here. And of course, we want to take the good out of the bad, right? For diehard Huskies fans and for people that love Paige Beckers like you and I, sit here and just think for a second. The headlines that I'm reading since March, April, May, June, July, August, leading up to the end of August here as we approach September. Again, injuries are a big no. I get that. But you know how they say everything happens for a reason, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
Dorka Juhasz admitted she was never really fully ready to leave UConn. And when you sit back and really think about it, if she has a career in the WNBA, maybe this happened for a reason. Paige Beckers, maybe we see Paige Beckers even better than when she came onto the court her freshman year. So my point is, these injuries, man, that's what I'm trying to explain to the people that are telling me, Dorka, you are the face of UConn? Nah, look, Ryan, she suffered the season or a season-ending wrist fracture,
right?
Dislocating a wrist. That's what I'm trying to tell you, Ryan. Did it really happen for a reason? We didn't want to see that, but did it happen for a reason? Is she going to have her best career in year in basketball? Not only that, does this set her up for being one of the top picks in the draft? I don't know. We didn't think that just a year ago. But oh my, how do things change in a matter of a year?
Yeah, and that's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. And of course, we have to talk about the injury from last year during the March Madness run, and only with a couple games left as well. And that was a really, really big loss for UConn. I know we were all devastated when Dorka went down with that injury, and obviously that was a really horrific injury. And hopefully, she's able to recover 100% from that, and no re-injury of that same wrist or arm occurs for this season as well. But yeah, I mean, it was just a tremendous season from Dorka last year, and just that, coming into this season, that'll just show the resilience that Dorka has, being able to recover from that. And I know I saw a couple articles online that I read about Dorka being really unsatisfied, and that's a big reason why when she got injured, obviously she wasn't going to the WNBA draft, but she was really, really disappointed, as I think we can all imagine, that she didn't get to finish that season with UConn, wasn't able to play in those final couple games, and especially during the national championship. So that's why I think not only that, for the rest of the players as well, but I know Dorka has a huge, I guess, chip on her shoulder, and really has a lot of firepower lit under her now to be able to try to get back to that championship game and try to do whatever she can to help the UConn Huskies get back to that game again this year.
Yeah, she is tough. She's physical, and you couldn't ask for much more, in my opinion, if you're head coach Gino. I can't wait to see what the 6'5" forward can do this season, Ryan. Dorka Juhasz. Again, we put the spotlight on her today as this series finally comes to a close and we move on. Hopefully ESPN will update their schedule pretty soon so we can actually go over the date, the specific date, the time, the details of each game. Just take a quick preview of each game, because I know that you have been looking to that now since around my birthday, July, and here we are at the end of August.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know we talked about that before, about having a huge episode, almost like an hour long, about every single game, going over every single game. So we'll have to see how that works out, but that'd be really fun.
And again, Ryan, when you look at Dorka, I mean, are you leaning towards my side that, again, a lot of talented players on this roster, but could she really be, I think I was, maybe some misunderstood me when I talked about Dorka being the face of UConn. I understand this is probably her last year here. With that said, though, just this specific 22-23 season, could you really see her as the face of this team?
Yeah, and it definitely will be her last season, but at UConn, of course. But yeah, I mean, I can definitely see it, and we talked about that with the last episode with a couple of the comments about the leader of the team and kind of the face of the team. And there really doesn't need to be a leader, in my opinion. But if there was going to be one player to really step up and take charge for everybody and kind of lead the team
every night. Every
yeah.
night. I'm just not saying, Ryan,
Yeah.
maybe once a month you're going to lead the team with 20, 30 points. I'm talking about specifically I get it. She came off the wrist injury. We have to see how she does. But specifically, Ryan, I'm talking about every single night.
Yeah, and I definitely think Dorka can do that every single night, every single game that they play. I definitely think she's the type of player that can start every single game and have an immediate impact on the court, almost leading points every single game, certainly get a lot of rebounds and hopefully a lot of steals as well, and makes an impact not only offensively, but on the defensive side as well.
Yep. All right, let's get into the comments, Ryan, before we head out. We will be back on Wednesday for another topic, who knows what, because hey, with this team now, we've been experiencing a lot of big headlines that are not expected. This summer has been a crazy roller coaster ride. So I know we're only 2 days off this week, but hey, we don't know. Make sure you keep me updated because we don't know what will break before Wednesday morning.
Yeah, certainly a lot of breaking news and unexpected news for this all season for sure.
Let's start out again. This is from UConn Huskies. Welcome, Ine Bettencourt. How about, Ryan, how about you break some of these comments down for me? And again, hey, let's start off with Iva. It was her idea for this series, and it finally comes to a close. Great news to add another point guard, but I also think this season she will mostly be used to give a breather to Nika. With AZ, Lou, and Caroline on guards position, I don't think that she would have a lot of playing time, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, but looking forward to seeing her development. With all this international players on UConn roster, Gino is on to something. The future of basketball, looking for best players around the world. Yeah, that's very true, because I forgot to mention that to you. Well, you brought it up the last episode, but
yeah,
man, I mean, I don't know if Gino has really ever had experienced a roster, international roster like this before in his entire career.
Yeah, and like I said yesterday, with Bettencourt coming to this team, there's 5 players from other countries that are on the UConn roster for this season. So it's definitely exciting. Like I said, it's always good to see talent from other countries around the world, because there's so much more talent outside of the U.S. That really needs to be explored, and it's good for not only women's basketball but for really any other sport. But yeah, I would agree with Iva's comment. I think around 10 to 15 minutes, I would definitely agree with that. For when AZ or Caroline comes off the court, just to give them a little breather. I think that's a really good guess to see how many minutes Bettencourt will get this season. Of course, we have to remember she's only a freshman, and she's of course played internationally as well. So it'd probably take her a little time to kind of get used to the US kind of play style, college basketball and whatnot, try to get used to the system and all our teammates as well. But yeah, I don't think she'll have a huge impact for the Huskies this season, but she is only a freshman. So we'll probably see her a couple of different times, but hopefully as the years go by, she'll be able to make a bigger impact each and every season.
How about Rachel Fight? Rachel, thanks for coming through. Without knowing much as of right now, my guess would be that Gino and the staff will use her as a bench relief for Nika running the point. She'll switch out with her as needed. I'm pumped for Paige's recovery journey and the bench hype and mentoring she'll bring this season. Her positive spirit will be an asset. Paige is special and not like every girl coming into this team as a freshman. She has a unique confidence within herself. She'll be a generational UConn great.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's something we probably didn't mention as well, is that her confidence level. Even if Paige is struggling out on the court, she's going to continue to not only hype up herself, but hype up her teammates as well, and make sure everybody's still in the game, keep them in the game, keep the energy levels high. And Paige Becker, she's so good. Even if she is struggling, she's going to continue to play great, play good, as best defense as she can, continue to keep shooting the ball, because she knows that she's eventually going to knock down a couple shots and get in her rhythm right away again. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, I hope Ines can learn the system a little bit better and pretty quickly as well. Of course, we still have about 2 months before the season starts, but it should give her enough time to kind of learn the system. And if need be, if any guards go down or Nika or AZ Caroline need a breather, she is able to run the point and kind of run a couple plays, and I think she'll do fine.
Richard Watley goes, surprisingly, they made a move because I don't think they thought somebody was out there that could actually help the team this year. I don't think Gino wanted to waste a spot on somebody just sitting on the bench. If everybody else steps up and she develops slowly, then that's okay. She's here just in case they don't. I believe they all will step up and she will hardly play unless someone gets hurt. Yeah. So see there, that's the depth factor that we have been talking about. Again, and that's the way I was leaning in the last episode, even though some of this news just breaks and before you really look into it, people that don't follow the team or the sport that closely. Oh, UConn signed a big player, international player, Ryan. They are going to be the next legend in college basketball. No. Okay. Sometimes it's just depth.
Yeah, and it is a fully stacked roster. And of course, like I was just going to say, just in case something happens like we saw last year with everybody getting hurt in the COVID situation and just everything the team had to go through. So I would think there's definitely enough depth for this season on the team. Not only at the guard position now, but also at the forward and center position. So I think that Huskies are in a great spot in terms of depth. And we talked about that a lot during this whole off season. So they look primed and ready to go.
How about Matthew Sullivan? This is a short one. Hey, just found you guys here. All right. So this is someone new. So Ryan, shout out to him. Thanks for coming through, Matthew. Hey, just found you guys here. You on Twitter?
Yeah, we are. We do have a Twitter account. It's Listen Up Pod 2020, I believe, is the account at. So if you want to hit that up and hit for a follow, put all the links on that Twitter account as well. So we'll probably have to. Maybe we should post a little bit more on that as well
on Twitter, maybe, especially when the season rolls around. Because again, we want people to come through on the Twitter account. Ryan's job to look at that and check it out, and then get them questions. Get the concerns off of Twitter surrounding this UConn Huskies women's basketball team, and then we can bring that onto the pod. That's a good idea.
That's right. Yeah.
How about Raheem Singleton? You guys are acting like Shakira Austin is a slouch. Laugh out loud. They got a building block at C center, and they have a lottery pick in next year's draft. Okay, all right, we're getting into WNBA talk now, and that's actually good because we're getting ready to sign off, Ryan. So yeah, you guys are acting like Shakira Austin is a slouch. They got a building block at center, and they have a lottery pick in next year's draft. Hey, I'm just saying, Ryan, I'm just throwing it out there. All the possibilities. Again, if Washington would have drafted Howard, would it be I'm confidently sitting here saying, yes, it would be a different playoff bracket. I'm sorry for anyone that would get really nothing bad about any of the other Mystics players. But again, man, sorry if you get upset at that, Ryan. If Howard would be in DC, I think this is a different playoff bracket.
Yeah, and Shakira Austin was definitely not a bust. She definitely had a really good season for Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think if Howard would have been on the Mystics and they did draft her with the number 1 overall pick, I for sure think their season looks completely different. And who knows what would have happened. But yeah, I mean, that's certainly good for this upcoming draft. They'll have another lottery pick and probably pick up another very, very good player. And they're definitely set up nice for the future. But who knows what would have happened if they would have had Howard.
Let me just, and again, this is all guessing. You don't know what's going to happen. Let's just put this concern out here for this person that commented. Ryan, do we have a major issue in Washington? What if the Atlanta Dream all of a sudden just get better and better for years to come while DC falls in the basement?
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. Okay. Then what is Ryan Renner going to say and the rest of everyone?
Yeah, I mean, you never know, and that's that's why it's so hard, and that's why I said on the last episode, I certainly wouldn't want to be a GM of any team in any sport, because I don't
Yeah.
know how you know who to draft, and
Mm.
it's just so much to think about for the not only building for the next season, but for the future 5 to 10 years ahead at some points.
Yep. All right, Ryan. How about some WNBA action this evening? I guess you have Aces and you have the Sun. No, not the Sun. It is the Storm. No,
Right.
not the Storm either.
Yeah,
Is it the
Aces
Storm?
and Storm. Yeah.
Aces and Storm, but you have the Aces taking game one, and then in that second game, the Sky. You have the Sky. Any possible? I think I already asked you this question. Any possibility that you can see either team getting upset, or you have the Aces and the Sky in the final?
I mean, I think there's definitely a possibility both teams get upset, and there's a real possibility that both of the series both go to game fives. I think the Sky probably take care of the Sun maybe in 4 games would be my guess, but I certainly think the Aces and Storm. I think that series is for sure, in my opinion, has a very, very good chance of going all 5 games. That should be a really exciting series, and they both should be.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Game one, both game ones tonight, Ryan. And we will leave it at that. Wednesday, Ryan, I will see you on Wednesday, last day of August. Oh my, UConn Huskies basketball, just that much closer. Phil and Rye on Listen Up.